You're 8 years old, and from the moment you put on pads, you were taught that violence was a language, and you learned to speak it fluently. While other kids were dreaming of throwing touchdowns, you were playing back Ray Lewis hits on YouTube and practicing your war face in the mirror. You weren't chasing glory, you were chasing pain, and you've been addicted to the chaos ever since your first tackle. By middle school, you're not just making tackles, you're making statements. You're the reason running backs start hesitating at the line of scrimmage. Slot receivers start hearing footsteps before they even catch the ball. High school, you're the quarterback of the defense as a sophomore, calling plays, reading offenses, making grown men on the sideline nervous when you start pointing and barking assignments. Your highlight tape looks like a compilation of personal vendettas. 17 tackles in the state championship, 3 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, and that hit on the tight end that made him rethink his career path. College recruiters don't just want you, they need you. Every major program is selling you the same dream. We're going to build our defense around you. And why wouldn't they? You're the kind of linebacker that makes offensive coordinators throw their headsets. You choose the powerhouse program with the tradition and the jerseys that mean something. Day 1, you're competing for the starting spot. By week 3, you are the starting spot. The seniors respect you. The coaches trust you. The offense practices against you and goes home sore. Junior year, you're leading the team in tackles, but more importantly, you're leading them in intensity. When you talk, the whole defense listens. When you make a play, the whole stadium feels it. Senior year, you're a unanimous All-American, Dick Butkus Award finalist, the kind of linebacker that gets remembered in the same sentence as the legends. NFL scouts aren't just watching you, they're taking notes on how to teach other players to be you. The combine is your personal showcase. You run a 4.5 40 at 240 pounds. You bench press numbers that make offensive linemen nervous. Your vertical jump is higher than most safeties. But here's what really impresses scouts. Your football IQ test scores are off the charts. Draft night arrives and you're projected top 15, maybe top 10 if a team falls in love with your instincts. You're wearing the suit, sitting with family, waiting for your name. The first 10 picks fly by. Quarterbacks, edge rushers, offensive tackles. Then you hear it. With the 12th pick in the NFL draft, your name, your moment, your dream. The contract is solid, 4 years, mostly guaranteed. Your agent reminds you that linebackers who can think and hit like you don't come around often. You're not just getting drafted, you're getting drafted to be the guy. Training camp is your introduction to NFL speed. Everything happens faster, the offensive coordinators are smarter, the running backs are more patient, the tight ends are bigger. But you adapt, because that's what great linebackers do. They evolve. Week 1, you're starting middle linebacker for an NFL team. The offensive coordinator across the field has been scheming against linebackers for 20 years. The running back you're facing rushed for over 1,400 yards last season. The tight end you're covering has 40 career touchdowns. Welcome to the NFL, kid. First play from scrimmage. You diagnose the run correctly, fill your gap, and make the tackle for a 2-yard gain. The veteran running back gets up, pats your helmet, and says, "Good hit, Rook. You think you've got this figured out." Third play, play action. You bite on the fake. The tight end runs right past you, and it's 6 points. The quarterback doesn't even look your way when he throws it. He knew you'd bite before you did. This is what you learn your rookie year. NFL offenses aren't just trying to score on you, they're trying to make you think. They're trying to make you guess. They're trying to make you wrong. Every week is a chess match, and you're still learning the rules while playing grandmasters. You finished your rookie season with 120 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 3 forced fumbles. Defensive Rookie of the Year conversations. Pro Bowl alternate. The future looks bright. But you also finished with 12 missed tackles, 4 blown coverages, and that one play in week 14 where you got juked so hard you ended up on SportsCenter's not top 10. Because that's what being a rookie linebacker teaches you. Excellence isn't enough. You need to be perfect. And perfect is exhausting. Years 2 through 6 are when you realize why they call it the grind. You're not learning anymore, you're surviving. Every Sunday, you're absorbing hits from 250-pound running backs who run 4.4 40s. Every play, you're reading keys from quarterbacks who've been fooling linebackers since before you were born. Your body becomes a collection of managed injuries. Your left shoulder clicks when you raise it above your head. Your right knee swells after every game. Your back spasms on Tuesday mornings. But you play through it because that's what linebackers do. The hits aren't just physical anymore, they're cumulative. Every collision deposits a little more damage in your account, and you're starting to realize the balance is getting high. You're making Pro Bowls now. You're getting all-pro votes. You're the heartbeat of the defense. But you're also taking cortisone shots to get through the week and Advil to get through the day. Your rookie contract ends, and the negotiations are interesting. You want to get paid like the elite linebacker you've become. The front office wants to pay you like a system player who benefits from good coaching. Your agent reminds you that linebacker contracts don't look like quarterback contracts. You sign the extension. 4 years, decent money, but not life-changing money. Not compared to what the quarterback makes, not compared to what the edge rusher makes, not even compared to what the safety makes. Because you play linebacker. Because you're replaceable. Because every college has 3 linebackers who can run and hit, and only 1 quarterback who can read a defense. You're 29 years old, and you're losing a step. Not according to the film. You're still making every tackle, still calling the right plays, still leading the defense. But according to the analytics department, your burst is down 3% from last season. 3%! That's the difference between elite and declining. The team starts talking about managing your snaps. They draft a linebacker in the 3rd round, just for depth. They start giving you veteran rest days during practice. They start asking you if you're feeling okay after every game. What they're really asking is, are you done yet? The rookie they drafted, he's fast, he's healthy, he's cheap. He runs a 4.4 40 and doesn't need cortisone shots to get out of bed. He also missed 6 tackles in his first preseason game and got lost in coverage twice. But he's got upside. You've got mileage. Week 3, you make a mistake. 1 blown coverage, 1 touchdown pass. 1 play where you're half a step slow and the tight end gets behind you. It happens to every linebacker, even Hall of Famers. But you're 29, so it's not a mistake. It's a sign of decline. Suddenly, every tackle you make is still showing flashes. Every play you make is proving he's still got something left. Every game you play is viewed through the lens of Father Time. The rookie starts getting more snaps, not because he's better, but because he's younger. The coaches start talking about the future and developing talent. The front office starts talking about cap management and getting younger. You're not declining, you're just not improving anymore. And in the NFL, if you're not getting better, you're getting replaced. You don't announce your retirement, you just stop getting calls. The team releases you after 8 seasons. The press release thanks you for your leadership and professionalism. You're old, expensive, and we've moved on. You work out for a few teams. You pass every physical test. You still know the game better than coaches half your age. But you're 31 years old in a league that thinks 31 is ancient for a linebacker. 1 team offers you a contract. Veteran minimum, 1 year, no guarantees. You'll be a backup, a mentor, a coach on the field. You'll make less money than the punter and get fewer snaps than the long snapper. You take it because you're not ready to stop. You take it because you still love the game. You take it because you don't know who you are without football. The season is torture. You watch from the sideline as the starter makes the same mistakes you made as a rookie. You watch him miss tackles you would have made in your sleep. You watch him get confused by formations you've been reading for a decade. But he's 24 and runs a 4.4 40, so he's the future. You're 31 and run a 4.6 40, so you're the past. Mid-season, they put you on injured reserve with a knee injury that doesn't exist. You've been cut, but they're doing it quietly, respectfully, like putting down an old dog. You clean out your locker on a Tuesday afternoon when the facility is empty. No cameras, no farewell speeches, no ceremony. Just you, your gear, and the silence of a career ending. Now you're watching games from your couch, and every linebacker on TV makes you think, I could still do that. Some of them you're right about. Some of them you're wrong about. All of them you're jealous of. Your body hurts when it rains. Your knees crack when you stand up. Your back seizes when you sleep wrong. You're 32 years old and you feel like you're 60. But you know what hurts more than your body? Watching linebackers who aren't half as smart as you were, half as instinctive as you were, half as passionate as you were. And they're making twice as much money as you ever did. You gave the game everything. Your body, your mind, your prime years, your health. You were the heartbeat of every defense you played on. And what did you get? A few Pro Bowls, some All-Pro votes, and a body that reminds you every morning that you used to play football. But here's the thing. If you could do it all over again, you would. Because there's nothing like the moment before the snap when you've diagnosed the play and you know exactly what's coming. There's nothing like the sound of pads colliding when you make the perfect tackle. There's nothing like the feeling of controlling the middle of the field and knowing that nothing gets past you. That's what you remember. That's what you miss. That's what made it all worth it.
Your first youth coach didn't ask your name. He just looked at your shoulders and said, tight end. Didn't matter that you dreamed of throwing touchdowns or dancing in the end zone. You were too fast for the linemen, too big for the receivers. So they threw you into football purgatory and said, block him, now run a route. One coach said you were born for this. Another said you had controlled aggression. They meant it as a compliment. But even as a kid, you weren't sure if the violence on the field was the only kind you carried. By 12, you were already lifting like a varsity player. By 14, college scouts were whispering your name. They loved how you finished blocks, loved that you didn't celebrate touchdowns, loved the edge in your eyes. Nobody ever asked if you were okay. Because when you're that talented, that cold, they just call you a dog and hand you more punishment. You were a generational tight end before you were old enough to drive. And behind the stats, the mixtapes, the D1 offers, there was a storm building. High school Friday nights, you were a nightmare matchup. Too big for corners, too fast for linebackers. You were clearing out safeties with drag routes and putting dudes in body bags on trap blocks. The weight room was your sanctuary, the end zone, your kingdom. Coaches said you were the prototype. Recruiters flew across the country just to watch you flatten a linebacker and catch a fade on the very next play. You were a blue-chip, 5-star, can't-miss prospect. The kind that schools fight over, and they said, you're the next Gronk. Not knowing Gronk's had 3 back surgeries, 4 arm breaks, and walks like a Lego man when it rains. You didn't ask questions, you signed the letter. Chose a program that said you'd be featured in the offense. They had a tight end tradition, multiple guys in the league. The tight end room was sacred. The weight of legacy? Heavy. You arrived at camp ready to become a legend. First day, the strength coach called you a savage. Second day, you cracked a safety's helmet in practice. By the end of week 1, they were saying you could be a day 1 starter. Every Saturday, you lined up against future first-round pass rushers, 270-pound monsters with violent hands and personal vendettas. And no one cared if you won those battles. They just cared if the quarterback stayed vertical. When you did run routes, it was always the suicide missions. 3rd and long, 5 yards, right into traffic. Eyes over your shoulder, knowing some safety was about to separate your soul from your body. The kind of hits that make your family text you after games just to make sure you can still spell your name. Your stats were trash. Your body ached constantly. But NFL scouts love the film. Tough kid, plays with violence, does the dirty work. Translation, perfect victim. You didn't need to shine. You just needed to survive. And somehow, you did. That was mistake number 2. Because surviving taught them you could take more punishment. And they were just getting started. The NFL Combine was designed to expose weaknesses. For tight ends, it exposed the impossible. They measured your hands like you were buying gloves, poked your joints like a used car inspection, asked if your parents were married, stared into your eyes and asked if you'd ever felt pure rage. You smiled and gave the practiced answers. Yes, sir. Whatever the team needs. Just blessed to be here. But inside, you were exhausted before you even started. You were running on caffeine, creatine, and childhood trauma. You benched 225 like your life depended on it. Because it kind of did. Then you sat in a hotel ballroom while men in polos argued over your motor like you were a used Ford F-150. Draft night felt like waiting for a terminal diagnosis. First round, 5 receivers went, 0 tight ends. Second round, 7 offensive linemen, still waiting. Finally, pick 47, buried in the middle of round 2. You hung up the phone, hugged your mom, and cried like you'd made it. For a moment, you actually believed it. The first time you walked into the NFL facility, you felt it. The silence, the tension, the fact that nobody made eye contact, unless they were trying to size you up. Veterans didn't waste words on rookies. Other rookies were lying and pretending they weren't terrified. Your tight ends coach handed you an iPad and said, "Learn it by tomorrow." The playbook wasn't thick. It was hostile. Formations, adjustments, hot reads, audibles. Half your job was knowing everyone else's job. Training camp felt like prison with protein shakes. You woke up sore, went to bed limping. Coaches screamed about pad level while your neck stung from yesterday's goal line drill. Your only job was to survive and not screw up. Week 1, you chipped a defensive end and felt your ribs shift like broken piano keys. Week 6, dislocated your pinky, popped it back in during the huddle because there's no such thing as hurt at your position. Week 9, Week 12, your hamstring pulled, but you played through it because the backup was worse. Years 2 and 3 were your development phase. Translation: they broke you in properly. Defensive coordinators figured out your tendencies. They matched your blocking downs with their biggest defensive end. They defended your routes with their quickest linebacker or strongest safety. Every play was a mismatch by design. But somehow you started to figure it out. Your hands got better. Your route running sharpened. Your blocking improved from desperation to competence. Year 3, 500 yards receiving, solid blocking grades. Your first taste of actual success? Then came year 4, they called it your breakout season. 41 catches, 520 yards, 5 touchdowns, 12 starts. Your mom bought your jersey. Local reporters mentioned your name in articles. For the first time in your career, you felt like a real football player. But your body was already whispering the truth your mind wouldn't accept. Practice was now preceded by an hour of treatment. Recovery days were spent in ice baths and massage therapy. You were eating anti-inflammatories like Skittles. And you were only 25. But the stats looked good, so everyone assumed you were fine. Tight ends don't get the luxury of complaints. Just silent suffering wrapped in toughness narratives. Contract time revealed the year. Best tight end in the league. Maybe $15 million if you're Travis Kelce or George Kittle. Everyone else, scraps from the table. You had twice the responsibilities, twice the criticism, twice the ways to fail. And when contract talks stalled, they made their position clear. We can find another tight end. Your backup, who only ran routes, never blocked, got offered a similar deal. The message was crystal clear. Your body has absorbed too much damage to invest in long-term. You were 27. In tight end years, you were ancient. The writing was on the wall, written in MRI results and missed tackles. Your era was ending, and everyone knew it but you. Year 5 started with hope. New offensive coordinator, new scheme. They said you'd be more involved in the passing game. But your body had other plans. Half your explosiveness was gone. That crucial step that separated you from linebackers vanished. Your blocking power had diminished from accumulated shoulder damage. The rookie tight end started stealing snaps, first in practice, then in games. Coaches called it keeping everyone fresh. You knew it was a polite way of saying you're done. The brutal reality hit during week 8. You were running a simple crossing route, something you'd done thousands of times. But your body, battered from years of football's most contradictory demands, simply couldn't respond. The linebacker you used to easily outrun, he was right on your hip. The safety you used to stiff arm, he drove through you like a truck. Team doctors became your closest relationship. 2 hours of treatment before practice, 2 more hours after. Game days required multiple pain-killing injections just to function. Your medical file was thicker than the playbook, the price of being football's most demanding position. Template language for a disposable career. Now you watch games on Sundays. Every spectacular Travis Kelce catch, every devastating George Kittle block comes with an invisible price tag. Their bodies deteriorating in real time, the way they favor their left shoulder getting up, the slight limp after goal line collisions, the 1,000-yard stare after a helmet-to-helmet hit that the refs don't call. When people ask what position you played, tight end never gets the respect. Not like quarterback or even linebacker selection, you feel that familiar twinge. Some poor kid with a perfect tight end frame about to learn the lesson you learned too late. That being good at two positions is the quickest path to being broken at both. His coach will call him the prototype. His agent will promise he's the next generation. And for a few years, he'll believe it until his body starts whispering